Hey, welcome to the inaugural Disco Wine Club, where we discover all the new brilliant things. So I'm very excited to have our winemaker here from Johan, who's doing the Disco Chicken. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and where you come from.
Yeah, I'm Morgan Beck. I'm the winemaker and GM at Johan Vineyards. I've been there since 2015. I've been a part of the winemaking and the vineyard management there, I guess, from when I started, but officially took over winemaking in 2018.
Awesome. Yeah, so you've been in Willamette Valley in Oregon for some brilliant vintages, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the most exciting wine moment that you can remember when you got bit by the bug for wine?
In Oregon, you think?
Or wherever works for you.
I would say working down in New Zealand.
Cool.
I was kind of on my hemisphere hopping stage of my life and following Pinot Noir specifically. And the first kind of naturally made wine I tasted was a Pulsard from the Jura, and my mind was like completely blown, and said I have to figure this out. I have to keep exploring. There's so much more. I loved Pinot, and of course that's what brought me to Oregon.
Yes.
But the potential for a lot of other grape varieties to grow there is also really exciting.
Yeah, and we're about to taste some of that. So we have a Pinot Chaser for those of you who are new to Willamette Valley, Oregon. Really well known for their production of Pinot Noir, but also, as Morgan has pointed out to us, like some other fantastic grapes. And with that in mind, we are drinking right now the Disco Chicken, which you are getting in your 4-pack this month, because we're doing our inaugural poll for party time. And the story behind this wine is great. So we'll start there and then maybe just give us a little rundown of the grapes that are in it.
Mm-hmm. So this, I guess I'll start with the grapes. And really the inspiration for this wine came from tasting a really exciting Austrian rosé.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a Zweigelt rosé, and then had some Gruner Veltliner berries kind of macerated or soaked in the juice as the wine was fermenting. So you had this really fun, kind of white pepper aspect, and the red fruit, and also pepper from the Zweigelt.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really compelling, and it felt really intentional. So I had always wanted to make a Austrian-inspired rosé, and we do grow the 3 kind of main Austrian red grapes on our property, Blaufränkisch, Zweigelt, and Saint Laurent. So that's kind of the base for this wine. There's also a little bit of Pinot Noir in there, and then some Kerner, which just kind of pops the floral notes.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about Kerner for folks who may not be familiar with the grape?
Sure. Yeah. Historically, it comes from Germany. It was really widely planted, and they have since kind of taken out a good amount of the Kerner grapes and planted it over to Riesling. One of the parents of Kerner is Riesling, so you have a lot of the tropical notes, and super aromatic, and really fun for me to kind of explore what its potential is in Oregon.
Yeah, cool. So you're making fun wine. Your vineyards are biodynamic, which is a big subject that we'll get into at some point, but it's a common theme that you're going to see in the wine club wines. And even though this is a natural wine, you're still really involved in the selection of certain qualities and making sure that the wine is processing how it's supposed to and coming out with a product that you maybe not are intent on controlling, but are really proud of as a winemaker. That's a good, solid wine. Do I have it summed up?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
and I think there's a super fun story behind the Disco Chicken. How did you name it Disco Chicken?
So this wine came about in 2020, which was a pretty difficult vintage for us in the Willamette Valley. There were some wildfires that kind of allowed us to try some new things and do a bit more direct to press red with the red grapes to make some rosé. and we love disco music. We listen to a lot of disco. We have a disco ball on our crush pad.
Yes.
A bunch of lights. It's outside. It's pretty fun. And then we had this chicken, or this rooster named Popcorn. He was kind of ridiculous. He's the breed of chicken that has all of the feathers like around his feet that make him look like he has these big furry boots on. And he was still finding his crow and trying to figure out how to be a rooster. And I was like, you are a character. You need to be on a label. And so we put him as the disco chicken in kind of the John Travolta, like Saturday Night Fever label.
Yay, I love it. And you all will see this if you're not already looking at it. Well, cheers to you and cheers to Popcorn. We're going to taste this really quick. And tell me if there's anybody who is new to rosé, why they should love rosé.
So I think there's a lot of different approaches and different ways to make rosé. There are some times where it's kind of an afterthought or like a secondary product to a focused fermentation, and then there are a lot of other times where you have a plan. And this is a I say rosé with intention. So like these grapes were planned to be a rosé wine. And that's definitely what we're going for here. It's barrel fermented, so it's fermented and aged in barrel. It's on the original lees or the sediment for almost a year. So this is a 2021 wine, and we are, in 2023 right now. You see a lot of 2022 rosés that are hitting the market right now. We like to give it some time to kind of build that structure and allow the fruit to kind of integrate into the rest of the wine. And yeah, I think rosés in the right kind of lens can be just as compelling and interesting as a red.
Absolutely.
Or a bigger, kind of fuller bodied white.
Absolutely. There you have it. It's serious winemaking. It's not just an afterthought. This is beautiful. I'm picking up the kerner that you talked about with the aromatics, right? Kind of relating to the German aromatics there. A little bit of spice, a little bit of nice fruit berry there, and some great acidity, which makes it good with food.
And lots of, I get a lot of like salinity and kind of a salty aspect to this wine, which I don't feel like you often see in rosés. They're always really fruit driven, like fresh strawberry, fresh, and a lot of acid. But this has that kind of savory note that I think allows it to pair with some other potential food options.
What's your favorite dish to have with a wine like this?
We actually just last night had it with some fried chicken.
Yes.
So
all the poor popcorn.
I know, but it was such a good pairing. And it was, these little fried chicken bites that had this curry aioli.
Yum.
It actually worked really well.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put that on the menu tonight. Well, thank you so much for your time, Morgan. I have one last question for you. What was your top disco song on the charts when you were doing, or one that you remember?
So I really like, it's like definitely a newer age disco approach, but this guy named Crazy P, and he has a couple of favorite songs, but Heartbreaker is
nice.
One of my
I don't know that one, so I'm going to have to do homework. There you have it. You're going to have to do homework for Morgan. If you don't know this one already, look it up.
Yep.
Drink the wine, drink it with some fabulous food, and thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.